special meeting of the Board of School Directors will please come to order. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Director Carr,
Here.
Director Garcia,
Present.
Director Gokul Gandhi.
Present.
Director Herndon has asked to be excused as she is away on board business at a different meeting. Director Leonard,
Present.
Director O'Halloran,
Here.
Director Simpson,
Present.
Director Taylor, and President Peterson.
Present.
We have 7 present.
The chair will now ask the secretary to lead us in the recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance. The chair invites any members of the audience who wish to participate to do so and asks that those who do not wish to participate please remain silent during the recitation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll now read the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that Milwaukee lies on traditional Menominee, Potawatomi, and Ho-Chunk homeland along the southwest shores of Lake Michigan, part of North America's largest system of freshwater lakes. On this site, the Milwaukee, Menominee, and Connecticut rivers meet, and the people of Wisconsin's Menominee, Ojibwe, Ho-Chunk, Oneida, and Mohican sovereign nations remain present to this day. Before we begin tonight's meeting, we have a short announcement regarding interpretation services for the Spanish-speaking members of our audience.
Buenas tardes. Para las personas que desean escuchar la Junta Escolar en español, por favor de llamar al teléfono 312-626-6799 y marcar el número de código 608-130-5362. Una vez más, para escuchar la Junta Escolar en español, por favor de llamar al teléfono 312-626-6799 y marcar el número de código 608-130-5362. Gracias.
Gracias. Pursuant to Board Rule 1.06, this meeting is being conducted virtually. Board members may be participating in person from the Central Services Building. In order to allow as much public access and participation as possible, this meeting is being broadcast via live stream on the MPS website and on the MPS YouTube stream, the links to which may be found on the MPS website on the Boardcast page. The board will consider item 1, reports of the independent hearing officers. As is customary, the board will not take public testimony on this item. We will then proceed to item 2, which is a statutory public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2023 school operations, construction, and extension fund budgets. The board will give public hearing on all aspects of the FY23 budget. No action will be taken on the budget at tonight's meeting. Individuals who wish to speak on the item were required to register in advance. I ask those who are waiting to speak to remain on the platform until you are called upon to speak. Just as a reminder, Robert's Rules of Order dictates that all comments should be directed to the president of the committee. Also, any questions or requests are to be directed toward the president, who will determine the most efficient way to address them. All speakers are asked to state their name, spell their last name before proceeding with their comments. Each speaker will have 2 minutes and 15 seconds to speak. After speakers' time is up, they may continue to follow the meeting at one of the broadcast options mentioned previously. To ensure the good order of the meeting, harassment or intimidation tactics of any kind, including inappropriate language, will not be tolerated. The chair reserves the right to remove anyone engaging in such behavior from from the platform. Those removed from the platform may continue to listen to the meeting or access the agenda items online. However, he or she will not be allowed to rejoin the platform. Written testimony may be submitted to the Office of Board Governance, P.O. Box 2181, Milwaukee 53201, or fax to 414-475-8071, or email it to governance@milwaukee.k12.wi.us. Also, for our listening audience, if you wish to access the evening's agenda items and attachments online, you may do so by visiting the Meetings, Agenda, and Minutes page on the MPS website and choosing Online Agendas. Now, let us begin. Madam Secretary, item 1.
Item 1 is action on reports of the independent hearing officers of the Milwaukee Board of School Directors, student expulsions. As more than 30 days will have passed between the regular April and the regular May 2022 meetings of the Milwaukee Board of School Directors, 5 reports of the independent hearing officers which need to be acted upon before the board's regular May meeting are before you in the attachments for the board's consideration and determination. No public hearing will be given on this item.
At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to accept, modify, or reject the reports of the independent hearing officers for the dates and times listed in the item. I'm looking for a motion. Director O'Halloran.
I move we accept the reports.
Okay, I'm looking for a second now. Director Seam, who is that?
Director Gokul Gandhi had it.
Okay, I think, okay, Director Gokul Gandhi. Is there any further discussion? Will the secretary please call the roll?
On Director O'Halloran's motion, seconded by Director Gokul Gandhi, to accept the reports of the independent hearing officers. Director Carr.
Aye.
Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Gokul Gandhi.
Aye.
Director Leonard.
Aye.
Director
Aye.
O'Halloran.
Sorry.
Yes.
Aye.
Director Simpson
Aye.
and President Peterson.
Aye.
That's 7 ayes. The motion passes.
Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 2. At this time, the board will have its statutory public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2022-23 school operations, construction, and extension funds budgets.
I would like to remind my colleagues on the board that, as indicated in the public notice of the meeting, our purpose tonight is to give the public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2023 school operations, construction, and extension fund budgets. That the board will not take any action on the proposed budget. In fact, we will not discuss the proposed budget. That will be for future meetings. Madam Secretary, please announce the first speaker.
The first speaker that we have registered on the platform is Jasmine Roberson. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
Jasmine Roberson, Roberson.
Thank you.
My name is Jasmine Roberson, and I am a community member and youth organizer at Leaders Igniting Transformation. I am here today to ask you to divest from the school safety and security budget for the upcoming school year, as the proposed budget is $4 million higher than that of school counselors. I urge you to reallocate this money toward other eligible uses that will actually support safe and healthy students. I would like to see the money spent on more counselors, restorative practice coaches, and other mental health resources, because I know that according to the monthly PACE meetings, the discrepancies in the disciplinary practices being employed for Black and Brown students are great. Again, I am asking you to please urge the board to amend the proposed budget for school safety and security. This is an opportunity for our district to divest from policing our Black and Brown students and funneling them into the school to prison pipeline and invest in these students' mental health and overall success. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker on the platform is Cindy Tenna. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
My name is Sandy Tena, CENDI, last name TENA.
Thank
Good
you.
afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon, Superintendent Postley and members of the board. My name is Sandy Tena, and I'm here to provide testimony on the proposed budget for the 2022-2023 school year. As many of you know, this past weekend was a violent and deadly one, not only for Milwaukee, but for the country. From coast to coast, people were wounded or lost their lives due to violence and racism. When we take a look at the city of Milwaukee budget and realize that the Milwaukee Police Department receives half the budget, while the rest of the funding is spread between fire, public works, library, neighborhood services, and health, it is impossible to believe that our elected officials want to see our community succeed. When I look at the proposed MPS budget for the 2022-2023 school year, I notice that the Black and Latino Male Achievement Program, Violence Free Zone, and the Department of Equity, Access, and Inclusion together have just over $1 million, while the Safety and Security budget has $14.5 million. I can't help but think that we continue to focus on controlling, surveilling, and criminalizing students rather than providing them with the resources and support they need to be sane and successful. About 2 years ago, the board took a huge step in the right direction and voted to terminate contracts between the district and MPD. It is imperative that we continue to be proactive and allocate the funds we have to actually help students succeed both academically and emotionally and psychologically. Once again, I urge you to reallocate funds from the safety and security budget and allocate funds towards mental health, resources for students, and other programs that have proven to be successful. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker that we have on the platform is Maria Caden Martinez. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
Maria Gaden Martinez.
Please spell your,
G-A-Y-T.
yep. Thank you, sorry.
Good evening, President Peterson and members of the board. My name is Maria, and I'm a youth organizer with LIT, as well as a former special education teacher in Milwaukee. I'm here today to ask you to prioritize our students in the budget. During the past school year, I have been working with students across MPS and have constantly heard them speak on the lack of access they have to mental health resources and the lack of support they feel overall. Instead of feeling supported and welcomed in their own schools, they often feel criminalized and surveilled by the adults who are supposed to believe in them. This criminalization and surveillance often comes from safety guards. I personally have witnessed security guards yell at students and call them inappropriate names. Of course, there are several supportive security guards in MPS, so this is nothing personal against them. I am simply asking you to prioritize our students and their needs. Our students deserve better, and I ask that you think about what they truly need in order to succeed. In the current political climate, it is even more important that our Black and Brown students feel that the adults in their school buildings believe in their success. I ask you to reallocate $4 million from the safety and security budget, currently budgeted at $14.5 million, toward the following areas. $1.5 million to the Black and Latino Male Achievement Program, $1.5 million to the Violence Free Zone Program, and $1 million to Department of Equity, Access, and Inclusion. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker on the platform is Lauren Slepczynski. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
Lauren Slepczynski. Last name or first? SLAPCZYNSKI.
Thank you.
Hi, during my school year here as a student in MPS, I've noticed an extensive amount of issues correlated to the way our budget is distributed. But for today, I'm going to talk about one main wish I have in hopes that it could improve our schools and their environment for the better. This entire year, I think the biggest issue that I've picked up on that's almost impossible to miss is the way that our funding is distributed to the security factor of our school. Let me just put it blankly. We need more readily available counselors and nurses now. Currently, our budget grants $4 million more to security, surveillance, and devices that create hostile environments, like metal detectors, than it grants to supply reliable school nurses and counselors. As a student who has experienced almost 10 months of high school already, I've already witnessed firsthand fights between students and security guards, arguments with the metal detectors, fights between students, and plenty more. That's not okay. That does not instill a sense of security, safety, peace, or soundness. I acknowledge that some fights might be inevitable, but I know some students who have gotten into fights, and I strongly believe that if we had reliable, dependable school guidance counselors and a strong supply of mental health resources and spaces throughout our schools, we wouldn't have the scary amount of issues we have right now. If these students had a place to talk, if they were able to knock on a counselor's door and ask for help, they wouldn't feel alone and compelled to violence like so many do. And while we have a counselor, nobody even bothers to try and come to her, as she's quite literally never there. We have too many devices that create hostile and scary environments, and not enough resources and counselors that would truly make us feel safe. And even devices aside, the security guards at this school, the people who are supposed to make us feel safe and secured, make us feel unsafe. Constantly and consistently, we have security guards not only yelling at students, but also making inappropriate comments and getting way too physical with people who, may I remind you, are minors. This year, I and so many other current and past students would like to finally see more effort and money being put into mental health resources such as counselors, rather than security and surveillance measures that make students feel
Thank you. The next speaker on the platform is Carson Naylor. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
Hello, my name is Carson Naylor, Naylor.
Thank you. Please begin your testimony.
I am an MPS student and member for LIT. I believe we should have more funding for mental health and security at our schools. Many kids, myself included, struggle from mental health issues. Personally, I've gone to the office for counseling many times, but have been turned away due to the lack of counselor availability. These issues make it hard for us to learn and keep our emotions in check. I think if we were to have more mental health funding, we would be able to stop having so many fights and be much more calm as a collective school. Many of our students are made uncomfortable with the way we are being treated like juvenile delinquents instead of students here to learn. We get searched practically every day for no reason other for them to collect our phones, which stemmed from multiple fights being recorded. If we had more reliable resources for our students to access, we wouldn't need to take all the precautions that we do. On behalf of myself and my MPS peers, I ask that you relocate $4 million from the safety and security budget, currently budgeted at $14.5 million, towards the following areas. $1.5 million to the Black and Latino Male Achievement Program, $1.5 million to Violence-Free Zone Program, and $1 million to Department of Equity, Access, and Inclusion. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Nyasha Stallings. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony. Nyasha Stallings.
Stallings Nyasha, STALLINGS
Thank you.
Okay.
Please begin your testimony.
Dear School Board Director, my name is Nash and I'm a 10th grade MPS student. On behalf of myself and my MPS, on behalf of MPS and myself, oh my God, I am also I am asking that you allocate $4 million from the safety and security budget. The current budget at $14.5 million towards the following areas: $1.5 million to the Black and Latino Male Achievement Program, $1.5 million to the Violence Free Zone Program, and $1.1 million to Department of Equity, Access, and Inclusion. The equipment that is used to keep us safe is not being used to keep us safe at all. What I mean by this is they use it to check our bags and pockets for security when they first started. Now that they take our phones, they only use it for that. They only search our bags if we don't give them our phones. This is not something that benefits us at all. This only makes us more frustrated. The reason why is because when we get there, we are stopped in a long line and getting yelled at when we get to the metal detectors. This is not helpful at all. It often makes mornings worse and more hostile. This makes all of the students not feel safe or feel they have privacy. This in every way does not help anything. I urge you to reconsider relocating $4 million more to the programs listed above. Using this money could help the school more and make every student feel safer than what we feel now. As someone who suffers from mental illness, this will guarantee help. This is an opportunity for our district. This is opportunity for our district to divest from policing our Black and brown students and give them opportunities for success by putting more into mental health resources. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker on the platform is Chloe Simpson. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
I'm Chloe Simpson, CHLOESIMPSON. When people at my school hear the word safety, their minds will most likely go to the team of security guards at this school instead of what makes them feel protected in school. MPS has put $14.5 million into security, and my biggest question is, where is this money going? Is it going to staffing? I don't see it at my school. Security guards are willing to kick kids out of school in the dark in the middle of winter just because they want to go home. During fights, instead of security guards breaking up fights, it's teachers. Just the other day, a fight was going on in the second floor bathroom, and instead of telling safety right away, my teacher told another teacher, a teacher who has had to break up multiple fights just this school year. Is it getting higher trained professionals? The security guards at my school do not know how to handle children. When handling a situation that turned violent, we have adults ripping students off each other, and when the punishment comes around, it's about who punched who first, and not about the root of why these children are fighting or why the child is being violent. The money is not going into just student support. As I stated before, a child's punishment for getting into a fight is about whoever started it. Instead of getting counselors to help figure out why this happened, what's going on in the child's life, and or what the relationship is between the two students was or is. The punishment given is suspension and let the parents deal with the repercussions. The more money being put into security, the less goes into mental health support. Today, I asked students, do they know any of the counselors at my school? Over 50% of the people I asked could not name one of the school's counselors, and many that said they could only named one. This lack of support and communication leaves students to deal with these things alone, which can lead to many harmful decisions to be made. I would also like to talk about the security guards at my school make the school a very hostile environment. First thing in the morning, 9 times out of 10, security guards are yelling at kids for using the wrong metal detector. Anything you do in the hall, they're questioning you about. Students are supposed to trust these security guards while they don't trust us. I hear that these problems are at other MPS schools, not just mine. I would like to see a change in mental health support for all MPS students because it has a big impact on student performance. On behalf of myself and MPS peers, I would ask you to relocate $4 million from the safety and security budget to the current budget at $4.5 million to the following areas: 1.5 to the Black and Latino Male Achievement Program, 1.5 to the Violence Free Zone Program, and $1 million to the Department of Equity, Access, and Inclusion.
Thank you. The next speaker on the platform is Samuel Beaver. Please state your name, spell your last name, and begin your testimony.
My name is Samuel Beaver, Beaver. My
Thank
name
you.
is Samuel Beaver, and I'm going to be a senior at an MPS high school. I'm also in association with LIT. I'm here to ask you to divest the safety and security budget from $14.5 million to mental health resources at MPS. It is shown in a plethora of studies conducted in the last 20 years that in social experiments that behavioral problems, especially with children, can be worsened by punishment rather than reform. An increase in safety at schools will not only create an environment similar to a prison, but will likely worsen those environments for students. MPS students deserve better mental health resources and facilities at MPS, and that is why I'm asking you to divest the $14.5 million toward counselors and other positive mental health sources. Can I leave?
Thank you. Mr. Chair, it looks like that would be the last speaker on the platform to speak on this item. And that completes
I counted
public.
8. I counted 8 people to speak. Initially, you said 11. Is there?
Yes, we did have 11 registered, but only 8 actually was on the platform.
Okay, I was just double checking. Very good. So, Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Mr. Chair, that was the last item on tonight's agenda.
Okay, again, the purpose of tonight's meeting was strictly to give public hearing on the MPS budget. I want to thank the individuals that came out to give that hearing, some substance. Thank you very much, all of you. The board will continue its work on the proposed FY23 budget at the meeting of the Committee on Strategic Planning and Budget on this coming Thursday, May 19th, 2022, which is scheduled to begin at 5:30 p.m. This meeting will be conducted virtually. Oral testimony from the public will be taken. Those interested in providing testimony are required to register to speak and may do so by phone at 414-475-8200 or by following instructions on the MPS broadcast page of the MPS website. Also, the board is tentatively scheduled to take final action on the FY23 budget at its regular monthly board meeting on May 26. This meeting is scheduled to begin at 5:30 p.m., although the public will not be able to access, although the public will be able to access and follow this meeting as is customary, no public hearing will be given. Before we adjourn this meeting, the president would like to thank all of you who have either addressed the board tonight or provided us with written comments. If any of our listening audience would like to submit comments, please send them to Office of Board Governance, Central Services Building, room 273, PO Box 2181, Milwaukee, Wisconsin 53201, or email comments to governance@milwaukee.k12.wi.us or fax them to 414-475-8071. The president would also like to thank the superintendent and his staff, particularly the staff of the Financial Planning and Budget Services, for their hard work and many long hours devoted to developing a budget that will best serve our students and their families and our staff. At this time, do any members of the board have any brief comments to make before we adjourn? Director Taylor?
Thank you, Chair Peterson. Just wanted to also thank the youth for coming out today. I know a lot of times it may be very difficult, even as adults, to speak up and speak out. So I was happy to hear that they were speaking up and speaking out. So, and thank you to all the speakers as well.
Absolutely, thank you. Any other comments? I saw a lot of nods. Okay, thank you for your participation in this meeting and the entire budget process to date. There being no further business before the board, this meeting